Hello dear student, and let's start this video lecture. In the previous lecture I have given this as a homework problem, and I have told you about basic function relation and particular function y equal to mx plus c, that's called a straight line. So let me quickly give the solution for this, and if you have tried, you must have tried in that fashion. Okay, so let's say first part we are considering, it says find slope m and y intercept c for the given straight line. So that's a straight line given to us. In order to find the slope, we need to measure the angle from the positive x direction in anticlockwise sense. So that's going to be theta. Or we can measure in the opposite sense and we can say this is minus theta. So this is the value of theta. That means here the theta can be taken as 180 minus 60, which is going to be 120. Or this theta can be taken as, both are the same thing, or theta can be taken as this thing. If we are measuring in this side, so it's going to be minus 60, because this is 60, so that's going to be 60, but we will write theta as a minus 60 because this measurement is taking place in the opposite direction. Okay, so either you use the first 120 theta or as a theta minus 60 degree, both are going to be the correct expression for the angle made by this straight line with the x-axis. Understood? So we have defined the slope. Slope is going to be given as slope is m, and this m is tan theta, and theta, the way theta is measured we have talked about, so it will become tan 120, or you can write tan of minus 60. We know tan of minus theta is minus tan theta, so it become minus tan 60. And what is tan 60? That we also know, that's going to be under root 3, so it's going to be minus root 3. So minus root 3 is the answer for the slope. Okay, if you place the theta as 120, then also you can convert and you will find the same answer coming back. So that's the slope part. And what is y-axis intercept? So c is a y-axis intercept. For that sake, you need to see where this line intersect on the y-axis. So y-axis is being intercepted at this location. So what is the y coordinate is, that's called y-axis intercept. That means this length is known as y-axis intercept, and that's a 5. So c will become plus 5. So it's going to be positive slope and 5 unit. Making sense? So that's the answer for the first part. The second says find the equation of a straight line and slope of it if passes through these points. So remember, when the 2 points are given to us, I have given you a formula how to write the slope. So we can write slope of that line is going to be m equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now y2 is the coordinate of the y coordinate of the second point, y1 is the y coordinate of the first point, so this is the second point. So this will be indicating y2, this will be x2, this will be y1, this will be x1. So we can borrow the values from there. So if you borrow the values, you are going to get as a minus 2, minus of 4, and then divided by x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 2. If you simplify this, you are going to get it as a minus 6 divided by 1, which is basically equal to minus 6. So one answer for slope came out to be minus 6. Then we know the equation of a straight line passing through the 2 points. That equation can be written as y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Or you can replace this m by this big expression y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So from here we can find the equation. That equation is going to be some sort of this: y minus y1, which is 4, is equal to m, which is minus 6, x minus x1, x1 is 2. Now you can rewrite this in a form so that it becomes a linear expression. So this can be written as y is equal to 4 goes that side, so that's plus 4 minus 6x plus 12. So finally you will get as expression y is equal to minus 6x plus 16. That becomes answer of a straight line equation, which is written in terms of in the format of y equal to mx plus c. M is minus 6 and c is 16. That's what we can say out of it. And there's the last question which says find the slope and this c, and also draw this. So if this is the equation, we can rewrite this equation as 4y is equal to minus 2x minus 3. Then after we can write y is equal to minus dividing by 4. When you divide by 4, is 2 by 4. This will become minus half x, then minus 3 by 4. Now you compare this with y equal to mx plus c. So wherever you compare this equation with y equal to mx plus c, then you can find what the value of m and what the value of c is. Can you deduce the value of m and c out of it? Yes. From here you will find the value of m will be equal to minus 1 by 2. You see the negative slope. And you will also be able to decide what the c value is. It's a minus 3 by 4. That means y-axis intercept is going to be negative. Now if you need to draw this equation of this line, so shortly I can draw over here that you should have attempted, like x-axis and y-axis. Let's say these are the two axes, and let's draw the equation will be having a negative slope and passing through minus root 3. So this minus will be somewhere here and it's going to be negative. So some sort of this equation you can think of. This is going to be straight line. So if you are drawing in this manner, okay, because from here something some points are clear. Points like slope is negative, so m is negative. We know this is going to be a negative slope, and y-axis must be intercepted at this point minus 3 by 4. And this is, you can say, your x-axis, this is your y-axis. So this is how you can draw this. Making sense? So this is about basic about the straight line, and I hope you are following. If you have got all the answer correct, that's fine. Now let's move forward. This is a slide of the previous video lecture, and in this slide or this illustration we talked about various straight lines and their slope and their intercept. One mistake is there, so that we need to correct this wrongly written. Though I spoke in a correct fashion, but somehow this symbol got wrong. So this is the correction that you should make. I said slope of m2 is bigger than the slope of this third line. So m2 must be more than m3. So this symbol should be like this. So symbol was wrongly placed. So please make this correction, and everything is fine. So slope of 2 is more as compared to the slope of 3. So m2 should be greater than m3. Make this a small correction. Now let's move towards next important expression or function, we should say, that's called parabola. Earlier we talked about a linear relation. Now we can get a relation y, or function is y is equal to some sort of this, in which x is not a linear function, rather it's a quadratic function. So x square term is coming. So ax square plus bx plus c. So if this kind of relation we are getting, that means y is a function of x in which the terms of x start with x squares. That means highest power of x is 2. So this is going to give us a geometry called parabola. So whenever square function is given to us and y is there, so y has a single power, x has a square power, then you will find this is going to be parabola. Now of course this will be parabola only if a is non-zero, because if a becomes 0, then it will become a straight line, because this term will be no more, so it becomes the linear function. Making sense? So how it looks like, so we draw. So you'll find this y value, you can keep on placing x value. So this is going to come some sort of this. So I'm drawing a rough picture, and exact picture can be drawn like this. So it will be some sort of this. Either it will be this way, or it may be this way. It can be located anywhere depending upon what the values of a, b, c are. Here a, b, c are constants. So this expression, the first one, that means we will say this is a parabola which is opening in the upward direction. This is also a parabola which is opening in the downward direction. This first case will be achieved when this a is a positive. So we get a value which is non-zero. If it is positive, then we will be saying this parabola is opening in the upward direction. And when a is a negative, then you will find this parabola is opening downward direction. So we need to find whether it's opening upwards or opening downwards. So that can be decided by simply taking the consideration of coefficient of highest power, which is x square. Now b and c are going to play their role in locating these figures with respect to the coordinate axis. and A will be deciding, apart from other things, whether it's opening upward or opening downward. Now, whenever it gets opening upward, let's say this first case we are thinking about, it says here the value of y is more, because in this diagram you can think of this is y coordinate, this is x coordinate, right? So you'll find when we move in this way, then how the y value changes. Y has a higher value, then you coming downside. So here intercept has been shown. So this is particular y. When you come to this point for this x, then you'll find the y value is reducing. Then further you will get here. So value will be further reducing. And at this point you will get in the y value is a least value. And if you go further x, then you will say y value is start increasing. And here you will get a more bigger y, and here you will get a more bigger y. So what I'm trying to explain over here is, as you travel from this point onwards up to this point, you will find y decreases. Y means this y value, and then y increases. That means in the entire y, this is a y. So entire y values, you will find this is going to be the least value. So this is going to be the minimum value of y minimum for the first case. So that means whenever the parabola is opening in the upward direction, you will get a minimum value of y, because it has to go up to a lowest value, then it has to rise again. Similarly, in case of a negative which is opening downwards, you will get the maximum value of y, because beyond this graph is not going any more upward direction, it's downwards. So this is going to be indicating y max for this. So that means in this expression, this is the expression where we will be placing the value of x, y will be listed. So we place x0, then y will be coming. So for different values of x, different y will be coming. Out of those combination, if a is a positive, then there is going to be a minimum value of y. If a is a negative, then there is going to be maximum value of y. So that becomes important for us. Where these values are going to be located, we can find it out. So that point we can remember. So in this case, we will find that this will have, or we can say y will have its minimum or maximum value. Its minimum in case of a positive, or maximum value. Max means maximum value, and that will occur when a is a this negative, when x is equal to minus b by 2a. So that's important point we need to remember, because sometimes we require maximum value and minimum value of any expression like this. So we will be knowing that this is the value of x that decides where is that extremum value. We can call it as extremum because this is lowest extreme and this is the highest extreme for two different graphs. Okay, so till now in parabola we can think of some point that you have understood. This a decides whether it's opening upward or opening downward. If it is opening upward, there is going to be a least value or minimum value. If it is opening downward, there is going to be a maximum value. And where that value will be located, that will be located at this particular number. Okay, so that number we can remember. So let's take an example, simple example, and it says let y has been given as a minus x square plus 3x plus 2. So that expression has been given to us. You might be asked what type of graph it represents. So we will say since it's x square and y, so it must be a parabola. So that's a parabola. And then we can think of, in this parabola, what is the value of a? In this parabola, the value of a is minus 1. Can you see that minus 1? The coefficient of x square, it's a minus and 1, so minus 1. Now you see this a value is negative. Since it is negative, so it must be, from here we can conclude, it must be opening downwards. So we can say this is a parabola which opens downward, or opening downwards. So these points can also be asked. But let's see what this example is asking for. It's asking for find the maximum value of y. Now we have understood earlier, when a comes out to be negative, then y is a maximum value. So we need to find what the maximum value of y is. Then we will be using this as a concept or point. Now what this point says, this point simply says any parabolic relation will have minimum or maximum value depending upon a, when x is this. So we need to put the value of x like this. So we will say this will have, or you say y will be maximum, y will be maximum when x is equal to minus b by 2a. So let's find out what the b value is. B value is the coefficient of x, which is 3 over here. So you should say it's a 3. Divide by 2 into a. A value we have already identified, it's a minus 1. So you will say this is equal to minus and minus, they are settling together. So it's going to be 3 by 2. That means when the x becomes 3 by 2, then this will have its maximum value. Now you see, we could have done another way around, like we could have placed the value of x as a 0, then 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0.5, 1, 2, 3 and all numbers, and we have collected the value of y's. Out of that collection we could have thought of, or we can find out which one has the maximum, but that's a very lengthy process, right, and never advisable. So this is a way short that we can easily identify at what x it becomes the maximum. Now from here you have identified what the x is, but not still you have found the value of y max. So we will say, now we can say y max is going to be equal to when you replace x by 3 by 2. So we will say replace this x by 3 by 2, so it becomes 3 by 2 square plus 3 into 3 by 2 plus 2. So that is the maximum value of y. That means this expression will deliver maximum y of this. No value of y will be more than this number, no matter what the value of x you place. So that can be simplified, right? So if we simplify this, it's become minus 9 by 4 plus 9 by 2 plus 2, which can be further simplified as we settle them down, so it becomes this plus 9 by 4 plus 2. So we can multiply it, this become 8, 17 by 4. So 17 by 4 is the maximum value of y in this expression, and no value of x can deliver more than 17 by 4 as y. So sometimes we will be needing this maximum value, minimum value, and we will be using this concept. So what is the concept? This is a parabolic curve, and that will be either opening upward or downwards, and it will have extremum, that means minimum or maximum when x is this number. So we'll first find x, then put back to get the value of minimum or maximum respectively. In mathematics, these parabolas are generally categorized as 4 types. These are very simple and 4 types parabolas. So our interest is on this and this that we have talked about. You can call this as opening upward, and this is opening downwards. You see this equation is very simple. It says y power is 1, x power is 2, so it's a quadratic. If you want to rewrite it, as you can write it as y is equal to some constant, which is in this case 1 upon 4a into x square. So this is y is equal to x square term, other terms are 0, so this is quadratic relation. That means x power 2 is involved and y is involved. So whenever y is equal to this and this 1 upon 4 is a positive, hence it's opening upwards. So whatever the coefficient of x square is, that has to be positive for opening upward. Similarly, this is written as x square is equal to minus 4ay, just which we can write in this manner: y is equal to minus 1 upon 4a into x square. Again you see the coefficient of x square is minus 1 upon 4a, and so this is the minus sign coming, that's why it becomes opening downwards. Other terms are 0. Since other terms are 0, that means if we place x equal to 0, y will be definitely coming out to be 0. That means they must be passing through the origin, that's why they are passing through the origin, right? And moreover, you can see these 2 types as well. This type will be achieved when we are writing instead of doing square of x, doing the square of y. So y square is equal to something into x. So and if it is positive, then you'll find it's going to be open towards right. And y square is equal to negative of x, then it will be opening towards left. So they are also going to be coming in some cases. So we can identify if we do the square on y and keep the power of x as 1, then they will either open towards right or toward left. And if we do the square of x and keep y as a power 1, then they will be opening upward or downward. So these two are very frequently going to appear in our calculation. So you just have a glance on it. One more point here, f has been shown. So later on you will be talking about this. F is known as a focus. So every parabola has a focus, and this focus is represented by f. And this is not of much importance for us as of now. In mathematics you will be dealing this in detail. But still, this f, so as it is indicated over here, so you can remember its name is focus. Next popular geometry or a relation that we are going to use is circle. In circle we will be having both x and y as having quadratic relation. So equation of circle is written as x square plus y square is equal to a square. So that's a very basic equation of circle, and in which both x and y, they are in quadratic form. That means they are having power 2, and moreover the coefficient of x and x square and coefficient of y square, they are the same and they are 1. So if we write x square plus y square is equal to something, so that something has to be square of a. Alright, so that's called equation of circle. So we can remember this is equation of a circle. Equation of a circle. Now for a circle, few points are important. So let me complete this. Equation of a circle having center at 0, 0, that's called origin, and radius as equal to a. So that's called equation of a circle, and center is origin and radius is a. So whatever this right hand side square is, that quantity is known as radius, and center will become this origin. How it's going to look like, let me draw it. So it's going to be look like this, and the center will be at the origin exactly. So it's going to be symmetrical for all the axes, and you will find this is going to be equidistant from a particular point, that's called center. So center is a point from where all the points on this circle is at the same distance, and that distance is known as radius. So if we join this, so that's going to be a. If you measure this length, this is also going to be a. If you measure this, this is also going to be a. In fact, if you draw any line to the boundary, that's going to be equal to a. So that's called radius. Sometimes we also represent by r for radius. Now there are certain points. If somebody asks what is the coordinate of this point, so we can say you have to move in the direction of x by a, and nothing in the direction of y, so a comma 0. Similarly, you can answer this coordinate as 0 comma a. Similarly, you can answer of this coordinate, which is going to be minus a comma 0, and this is going to have a coordinate which is going to be 0 comma minus a. Now these coordinates, that means these points lie on the circle. So if you place this point, that means x equal to 0 for this and y equal to a, then you'll find this equation will be valid or justified. So these are the points lying on this circle. In this circle there are infinitely many points lying. I have shown some points which are obvious and easy to calculate. So this geometry is called circle. I think it is obvious. Now what's important of this is going to be for us, we will be said that a particle is moving on a circular track. Then we need to know what the circular track is. There is going to be center point, there's going to be radius point, and we can think of what the coordinates are going to be. Moreover, so that's located from the center. In broader sense, this can also be written as, if the center is not at origin, so we can write it as x minus x1 whole square plus y minus y1 whole square is equal to some a square. If this is given to us, so we will say this is also a circle, but its center circle, this is a circle with center at x1 comma y1. So that means if something is subtracted or subtracted with x and subtracted with y, so those points will become center location, and its radius will remain the same. So radius will be equal to whatever is square of the quantity right side, so that's a. So that's a circle, right? So for circle we need to remember equation of circle. Out of equation we should be able to find what the center is and what is the radius. And if the radius is not given to us, if we know one point on the circumference and the center point, so we can find the distance between these 2 points, we will be able to identify the radius as well. Next geometry is ellipse. So equation of ellipse is also includes square of x and square of y. So it's going to be written as let me use this black color. So it's going to be written, equation of this ellipse will be written as x square upon a square plus y square upon b square is equal to 1. So if you find an equation in this format, then you can claim that that particular equation is representing a geometry called ellipse. Here a and b are constants. X has a power 2, y has a power 2, so this is the square of x and square of y related. In case of circle, you find this a and b will become equal, so it will become x square plus y square is equal to a square. But if they are different, so that's called ellipse. How the geometry looks like, so for that sake we can draw over here. So it's going to be looking like this. Center will be at this symmetrical will be with respect to the center origin, so that's going to be geometry. And for ellipse, so ellipse is basically flattened, you can think of a circle, and this will be representing the y-axis. As we know, this is going to be representing x-axis. This is going to be the center point. Now if we are interested in writing the coordinates of few points which are simplest or easiest point, so this point will have a coordinate where y will become 0, so y will be 0. If you place the value of y 0, you'll find x value is going to be equal to a, so that becomes a comma 0. Similarly, for this point you just put the value of x equal to 0, so if you place x equal to 0, because the first coordinate is 0, so y will be coming out as a b plus minus b, so b plus will be in the upward direction, minus b will be for the downward direction, so it's going to be 0 minus b. Similarly, this point is going to be indicating minus a comma 0. So these are the coordinates of few obvious points. This is the center. Apart from this, there are two important points are also noted. They are called focus. So there's going to be two focus, focus 1 over here, focus 2 over here, right? And this entire length, if you measure the length from center to this entire length is equal to a, of course, that's why this is a. Whereas this length, if you measure, this is equal to b. So both lengths are not equal. Along the x it is more, along the y it's less. So that means this equation is valid if or this graph is valid when we say a is greater than b. A is greater than b. Now the graph will be looking slightly different if we are having otherwise. So if we draw another graph as well in which, let's say, b is more as compared to a, so how that is going to look like. So let's say these are the coordinate axes, and if we are interested in drawing this keeping b more, then it's going to be of this sort. That means b length will be more, that means it will be running more on along the y direction and less along the x direction. So you will say this is the graph of ellipse for the case when b is greater than a. Equation will remain the same. So the same equation will give us this result or this result depending upon which quantity is more. And we have already talked about what happens when a and b are equal. When a and b are equal, then you'll find that becomes circle. In this case, these coordinates will remain the same. This is going to be 0 comma a comma 0, this 0 comma b, and all that. Okay, here the focus will be, one focus will be upside, another focus will be downside. Okay, and few more points that we can talk about this a. Let's talk about the first picture. So for this picture, this a is known as semi major axis, semi major axis, because A is a major axis and we are writing the semi, that means half of it. Total axis runs from this point to this point. If you try to find the total length, it's going to be twice A, and we are writing A, so it's called semi major axis. Similarly, B is known as semi minor axis. However, this nomenclature will be different in this case. In this case, you will find the B is the major axis, semi major axis, A is going to be minor axis. Making sense? So that's what we need to remember. In this particular example as well, the coordinates of F1 and F2 can be remembered. F1 coordinate is going to be A into E comma 0, and F2 will have a coordinates minus A into E comma 0. Now you can think of this entire number as A, so that's going to be less than A, this distance, that's why AE, so A is less than 1, and if you use a little bit math, then you'll find from here you can conclude something, that this E is going to be less than 1. So you'll find for ellipse, this E value is always less than 1. Then you need to know what this E is. This E is called eccentricity. Eccentricity. In maths, you will be told about these quantities in more detail, and you will be proving how these equations are coming. But for us, since we are going to use them as a tool, we need to know what they are, and then we will be using them, right? So eccentricity for ellipse is always less than 1, and the two focus have coordinates AE comma 0 and minus AE comma 0. This all information is for this first figure. Second figure has been illustrated just to show you what happens when B becomes greater than A. So it appears like this. Making sense? So this is sufficient information for us related to ellipse. Next relation or function, or you can call geometry, is hyperbola. So that has to be hyperbola. And its equation is also involves x square term and y square term. So we can remember that equation is x square upon a square minus y square upon b square is equal to 1. So it's very similar to that we talked about for ellipse, but there is a minus in between. If comes minus in between, so that becomes hyperbola. How it looks like, so here the graph has been shown to us. So if we draw this in y versus x, so this y versus x graph is going to be look like this. So for different values of x, if we find the y value, then we'll find these points are going to come both in this side of y and this side of y. So this will be known as hyperbolic equation, and this is going to be known as hyperbola. This is how hyperbola looks like. Apart from this common hyperbola, we can also use sometimes or find sometime this rectangular hyperbola. Rectangular hyperbola. So its equation is a bit different. So let's see that equation as well. Rectangular hyperbola. For this equation goes some sort of this. Here we multiply x with y. So xy is equal to c square. This kind of relation, or you can say equation, is known as rectangular hyperbola. Here x and y are the variables that we know. C is a constant, so c square is basically positive. So xy is equal to some positive number will become rectangular hyperbola. And how it looks like, that means how the picture or the graph of this rectangular hyperbola is, we can see from there. So this is going to be, let's say, x and y coordinate axis that we know, and let's draw this. So we draw first, let's say this is y in proper sense, this is x, and again we will choose the value of x, then we'll find the value of y, then join all the points. If you do so, you will find when x becomes almost 0, then to get this value, y has to be very large number. So y starts from very large number and rapidly decreases and becomes 0 or approaches to 0. So we will show like this. So in the first part, similarly, since in the right hand side you are getting a positive number, this positive can be achieved when x and y both are positive or both are negative. So since both positives are found in the first quadrant, that's the first quadrant, and both are found positive, and then both are found negative in the third quadrant. So that means this will be available only in the first quadrant and third quadrant, not in the second quadrant. Why? Because in the second, one will be positive, another will be negative, so answer has to be negative. But this is square is always positive. So you'll find this graph will be only existing in first quadrant and third quadrant. So first quadrant, it is going to look like this. Similar, it's going to look like in the third quadrant, some sort of this. So whenever you get xy equal to c square, that's you can call it a rectangular hyperbola. How you can draw it? You can draw like this. So that's a function or graph of a rectangular hyperbola. This is a graph of hyperbola. So you are just getting used to with this term and this equation. There are so much story inside this. In mathematics, you are going to go inside and talk about all that thing. That's not much related in physics. What is related? If somehow somewhere you get this kind of equation, you might be asked what type of graph it is going to form, and option will be circular, elliptical, parabolic, hyperbolic. Then you will say yes, it's a hyperbolic. And if this equation you find, then you will say it is going to be equation of a rectangular hyperbola, right? So this is how you can use these basic knowledge for different functions. Well, so let me summarize what we have learned in this particular video lecture and the lecture that you have watched just prior to it. In both them combined together, we tried to learn what the function is and what are the different type of functions, right? So if I summarize them quickly, so we talked about those functions which is related with y index, and these functions basically had started with this: y has a single power and x has a single power, so y equal to mx plus c. So this was a straight line equation because this is a linear relation, so that's one. Then we moved ahead and we said, let's do the square of x. So if you do the square of x, so some ax square plus bx plus c, that's the next level. This is called parabolic equation. Then we also started squaring y. Here we also talked about if we write y square is equal to some kx or 4ax or something like that. This is also a parabola. So if one is squared, another is a single power, so that's parabola. And if we we do the square of both, that means we are having x square plus y square is equal to a square, so that becomes equation of a circle. And what the circle is, what is a is, we have just understood. And then with this, keeping this x square of x and y, if we do some sort of this x square upon a square, then plus y square upon b square equal to 1, if we write in this fashion, so it becomes ellipse. And if we place a minus over here, then it becomes hyperbola. And we have finally talked about this rectangular hyperbola xy, that means we are multiplying x and y together, and if we are getting some positive number, that's a rectangular hyperbola, right? And this rectangular hyperbola is shown like this. So these geometrical terminologies we have understood in this particular video and the prior to this, and you need to keep in mind how these relations give different geometries, right? Details of this are part of mathematics, so we will be simply using them. And in the next video we will be talking about some more graphical representation like trigonometric functions, how they are, and exponential function, logarithm function. So these three functions are also quite important for us, and then after we'll be moving towards differentiation and integration. Okay, that's for all. If you have any doubt or query, you can always ask. Thank you. All the best.